Hey, this is Daniel. So I am in rainy New York City.
I just want to say thank you again for being here. And with no further ado, the man of the hour, the next president of the United States, Andrew Yang. Hello! Yang, New York City. But you guys are the special Yang members who actually opened your wallets and said, let's throw down some cash on this. I have to say, I wanted to make sure that this campaign was people-powered the whole way. But it does take a special sort of person who says, you know what, I believe in this campaign and this guy enough where I'm actually going to throw some of my hard-earned money down, not just like the 1, the 5, the 10, the 20, but you all went the 3 digits. That's what I'm talking about. I joke all the time about how cheap the Yang Gang is. And we are kind of a cheap gang. We're sort of a cheap gang to join. But you guys just upgraded yourselves to be like the senior members of this gang. So let's give yourselves a round of applause. And events like this give me a lot of joy and pleasure because it's real humans. We're going to have some time, take some pictures and the rest of it. And it is not one of these incredibly boring political fundraisers, which if you've ever been to one, oh my gosh, do they suck. You know what I'm talking about? You go and it's someone's house. And it's a very nice house, always a very nice house. And then everyone goes in, and because you're in someone's very nice house, everyone's like very well-mannered and walking around. And the food somehow is always somewhat lacking. No idea, you'd think like these really rich people would just bust out like superfood, but no, never. And you walk around, and then like everyone has like this very, very like artificial feeling conversation. And I had to say, like, I'm so glad that thanks to people like you, we can do real events with real people that can actually come together and celebrate the ideas of this campaign. So thank you all so much. I love this grassroots fundraiser. This is the kind of event I can get behind. I enjoyed this so much more because the fact is I suck at asking rich people for money. Just really not great at it at all. No, it's true. And Steve's laughing. Let's give Steve a round of applause. Coming down from New Hampshire. And let's give Wendy Hamilton a round of applause coming up from Maryland. But I joke about this because Steve here was like one of the youngest mayors in New Hampshire history, the mayor of Portsmouth. And then would be the governor of New Hampshire, would not be here with us right now, would be the governor if you were better at asking rich people for money.
It's a weakness. Don't make the same mistake.
Go, baby. So this is one reason why Steve and I have bonded. It's one reason I'm so grateful to you all, because if we can maintain the enthusiasm and the love and the energy, then we can actually spread like wildfire, small donor style, and then we can spend less time courting bundlers and people of means in those high dollar events. So please do, I'm sure you're gonna do it. After we get a picture together, just post that thing to social media and be like, hey, here's me with my guy Andrew Yang, and then let's just spread the word like wildfire and make sure that we go all the way to the White House in 2020. Thank you all so much for being here. So much fun. So because we're in this format, before we break up and start selfieing it up, I'd love to just take some questions and just like shout something out, because we can talk about the campaign, we talk about these can't just shut up. So yeah.
I love all the policies. I want to see one about your ideas for the space program.
Yeah!
Repeat the question. I love, you don't have to answer it now.
No, I'll throw out. So his questions, I'm repeating it because I've got a mic and he doesn't. Thank you though, bro. It's just, it's like, it's just good form. He's asking about the space program. How many, raise your hand if you are into the space program generally as just an idea. And so you're not alone, man. I mean, the Yang Gang is made up of people who are somewhat geeky and love space. I love space. So I want to help support our advancement in terms of space exploration, but the truth is that at this point, a lot of private industry has raced ahead of government. Like, we all watch those movies like Apollo 13, and it's like all these like folks, it's like all the best and brightest in like the 50s and 60s, like making these lunar landings. Now we all know the best and brightest are probably working at SpaceX or Blue Origin or these other companies, and Jeff Bezos is pumping $1 billion a year into trying to like get lunar landing. So I'm for trying to advance the space program, but I'd want to try and fill the gaps that private industry is leaving. So one gap that apparently private industry has left is we need to have a very high-powered telescope that can detect asteroids that are coming our way. Because it's a couple $100 million, and no private individual is going to be like, I'm just going to throw down a couple $100 million. But if you were a society, then that makes a world of sense. You know, I mean, there's like a non-zero chance that there's some Armageddon type scenario that you know, we might be able to actually see coming. So that's a gap that I would fill. And if there are ways that we can supplement what's going on in private industry in terms of space exploration, I would be all for it. So thank you for your question, and know that Andrew Yang wants to go to space just as bad as the next guy. Yes, right in the front.
No, you can even use the mic. Check that out.
So I have a question. So you're bound to be on Bill Maher and Stephen Colbert.
Yep.
2 days before the debate. How do you feel about that? And they might be throwing some hard questions at you. So how do you feel about that?
Yankees knocked them out of the park.
I'm going to be on Bill Maher in early June, and then Colbert and Stephen Colbert show in late June, the week of the debate. Actually, I was booked to go on June 24th. The debate's going to be 26th or 27th. And just now, the reason why I didn't come straight here from the rally is I filmed a segment with NBC Nightly News that they're filming with all of the debate participants. So NBC is broadcasting the debates on the 26th and 27th, and so they're filming segments with each candidate to air in a night leading up to the debates. This is their way of hyping their debates. And because NBC sees that I'm one of the 10 candidates that's going to be on the debate stage in June and July, they decided to do this segment. So there's going to be this massive surge in publicity on the run up to the debates, including the Colbert Show, I'm still at a phase where I need to introduce myself to the American people, where most Americans are not paying any attention to 2020. And of that group, even fewer have heard of Andrew Yang. So happily, between Bill Maher and this NBC segment and the Colbert Show, it's just going to be me talking about my ideas. And one of the traps that I think some candidates are going to get into, and it's happening actually, I can see it in some of the other candidates. I'm so glad to be in like the upper echelon of presidential candidates, because if you're candidate number 22 in this field, it's pretty rough. Is that some of them are already trying to come up with some kind of like game-breaking zinger, or like viral moment. And I'm happy to say that's not really my focus. I'm not going to go in Colbert and being like, ooh, I can just like, you know, like do this one thing that's going to catch fire. At this point, I just need to steadily introduce myself to more Americans. I'm just going to try and bounce around the room. I'll probably come back to you in a little bit. Someone, hand up in the back. Yeah, go ahead, shout it out.
What about Iran and Venezuela? We'll take your pick. Should we attack them or threaten them? What do you think?
No, that's a legit question. So I would want to re-enter the nuclear, it wasn't quite disarmament, but the arrangement with Iran where they would ratchet down their development of weapons in return for various lifting of sanctions and economic considerations. In Venezuela, we have to do everything we can to help that state not become a failed state. And I would want to do everything in our power short of military intervention. Because I think military intervention has a history of having many unintended consequences, and we should not be dictating someone else's government or way of life. But if a new government comes in and says, hey, we want humanitarian aid, it is directly in our interest to help that country become stable and whole as fast as possible. Miss, you had a question, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I just asked some question to the mayor in New Hampshire, but I have another question about the technology. It's a very big thing. You say that all the automated out of how many jobs. Now, did you ever try to talk to the head of Google and Microsoft and even Amazon? Because let's say Amazon, yes, they did take a lot of job away. However, practically most people have to do it because we don't have time to shopping. Online shopping give.
I like that.
Yeah. So please, you need to talk to them. I don't think we want to make them feel like you are attacking them. Get their support.
So I'm happy to say that I now have the support of over 100 technologists, including Jack Dorsey, the CEO of Square and Twitter, Sam Altman, I guess he recently stepped down, but the former head of Y Combinator and OpenAI, co-founder of Twitch, CEO of Zappos, like, and on and on. Like, the techies don't mind me. Like, I'm going around talking about how, like, they're automating away our jobs. And if you sit down with most of them, you're like, hey, you guys automating away our jobs? They're like, oh yeah, we're automating away our jobs. Like, they're not like idiots. I mean, they know, we know. And I'm friends with many of the folks in Silicon Valley, and they find me to be quite reasonable.
Techies love you.
Oh, thank you. Techies love me. And he would know that's David Rose, the founder and CEO of Gust, the most prominent angel investor in the entire country. So let's give David a round of applause. Like, he would know. So he would know what techies think. But yeah, like, I'm going around saying facts, but the fact is a lot of techies find me to be very reasonable. And what I say to the techies too, it's like, is life better in the bunker or out of the bunker? And then, like, out of the bunker, be like, yeah, so let's try and fix this shit. Last question with the math hat. If you get a math hat, you get special dispensation. Come on up and use the mic.
Have you given any thought to a potential running mate, and if so, who would you consider?
This is a fun question. All right, so one of the is press here.
Yeah.
I think everything I say is an open book. It's fine. So, it's fun. One of the joys of running for president is meeting the other candidates. Because what happens is when you go to that Democratic event in Iowa, you're in a green room with just the other candidates and hanging out. It's like a room just like this one, and then you meet their family members because some of them travel with family members. You actually have some real connections. And so I will say that I could work with most every other Democrat who's running for president right now. They're earnest, they're patriotic, they're sincere. And my goal during this time is to actually figure out who I can work with at that level. So I haven't met all the candidates yet, and so I haven't settled on who would be like an ideal partner in terms of the administration. But I will say I cannot wait to build the dream team and the Yang cabinet, because there are going to be so many people that want to come to DC and solve the problems. And people will see that I have zero agenda except solving the problems. If you come in, you want to work hard and kick ass and share the same goals and vision, then we can build a dream team. I'm talking The Rock, Oprah, Joe Rogan, Sam Harris, and of course, many of the other people that are running for president. But that is going to be one of the main virtues, I believe, of my candidacy and my presidency, is that people will see that it's not left, it's not right, it's forward, and as long as we get the job done, that's what America's going to get excited about. So thank you all. Can't wait to spend some time with you here. Back to the question. Thank you. So much fun, so much love, so much Yang Gang love.
All right, so Andrew's gonna stick around. He has promised to shake every hand, take every picture. My ask is to not talk his ear off because there's 200 people here. Okay, so get a question, get a selfie. We love you guys. We're gonna stream you through, and then after you get it, just maybe take a step back. It would be fantastic. But thank you, Yang Gang. We love you. We'll be all the way to the White House. Thank you, guys.